today I'm going to show you a few features of the Silhouette Studio Designer Edition. I have the Cameo 3, which I will be designing the DIY floating photo ornaments for Christmas. If you're looking at your screen, please follow this black arrow. I'm going to be pointing out a few things about Silhouette Studio Designer Edition is what I'll be reviewing today. I'm going to show you a few features that I quite often use when I'm designing. So if you have the Silhouette Cameo Designer Edition, your screen should look like this. And at the top here, if you can see my arrow, follow this black arrow. You can see at the top it says Silhouette Studio Designer Edition. Okay, that's what we're going to be designing with today. On the screen here, you have a 12 by 12 mat. And we're going to start off with the items here to the left that I quite often use sometimes. And this A right here is for text. And also the A over here is also for text. That's when you want to enter in your own wording. Another feature that I use quite often, sometimes the eraser right here I use that sometimes. But most of your items that you will use will be the items over here to the right. This is your page setup. I use that quite often. I use the color panel for the colors of designs. I use this one, which is lines. We'll go over that. That's the line style pattern. I'll go over that with you in just a few moments. This is the trace panel. It looks like a little piece of toast. That is the trace panel. I don't use this one, whatever that is, image effects. I don't use that. This goes with the text. This is the align tool or transform panel. We'll go over that if I have to use it for this tutorial. Other than that, those are basically, and let me see. This one right here is the offset panel. That's when you want to make a letter or a word or anything thicker than what it is. Any kind of text or anything like that. But those are basically the only things that I use when I'm designing. Now, these things on the right side you can also find here at the top up under panels. This is the same thing over here under panels is the same thing over here on the right. Okay? It is the same exact thing. So, let's see what else. Under File, File is where you open your design or open a folder. Edit is where you would copy and paste some things, or maybe you have to delete some things. You would find that under Edit. So, let's get started. Today, I'm going to show you how I design a ornament. And I will be using the ornaments. I got them from Michael's. And I call them the M&M ornament because it's round like an M&M, and it's not real fat like a bulb, but it's like an M&M shape, and it's round, and it's 3 inches in size. So what we're going to do is you can either create your own circle to make your design on, or you can get a template if you need a template to follow, which I do have a template that I had traced off of Etsy. I traced it off of Etsy and brought it into my program. So I'm going to show you that, and I'm going to make it 3 inches because that's the size of the bulb or the ornament that I will be using. So make sure your feature is on design, which is right here, the first icon under the blue area here at the top of the panel. And also you will be using print and cut feature as well. So today I'm going to make the ornament. So what I want to do is go to my folder over here at the top left. It is the second icon because I want to open up my folders where all of my files are. So under my downloads folder, I'm going to search for the ornament. I think it's under Christmas. Yeah, ornament template. There it is right there. It's going to come in quite often. It's going to come in big because I didn't purchase the file as a SVG. I just kind of traced it off the computer. So you're going to see how I did that. So this is the template, and this is the bulb that I will be designing on. So we're going to go ahead and click on the ornament template, and we're going to hit OK. It's going to come in big like that. So we're going to select this box, and I'm going to shrink it down because, as you can see, it's bigger than my mat. So I'm going to go over here to the left at the little arrow over here, the little dot, and I'm going to bring it down some. I'm going to keep bringing it down until I can get it on my mat. And we're going to trace this. We're going to remove all the white. So I'm going to show you how to trace an image. So this is the bulb that I will be designing, but I do not need all of this white area here. So what I want to do is just trace the bulb, this circle with the little top here. All I want to do is trace this and remove all the white. So we're going to go over here to the toast, is what I call it, and it says open the trace panel. So click that one time, and this opens up your trace panel. Now you want to select the trace area that you want to select. So now you're going to get a little plus sign. With that plus sign, you're going to hold down on your computer. I have a MacBook Air by Apple, so I'm going to hold down, and I'm going to cover everything that I want to trace. I want to trace the entire bulb. So we're going to trace, going to drag it and cover it up. This is what I want to trace, all of that. So once it's traced or highlighted, everything is going to appear in yellow. So by me wanting to only trace the bulb and remove the white, we're going to select trace and detach. So go back over to your area over here and go all the way down and hit trace and detach. So it did it, and now we're going to go ahead and remove the white. See how that happened? I detached the white area of the design. So now I want to just click on that, and I want to delete that under edit. I don't need that anymore. I don't need the white part, so that's deleted. Now we're going to click on our bulb. Here is our bulb. This is the bulb, and I need this to be 3 inches. So at the top here, you have a width and a height up here in the toolbar area. The first column or box says width and height. So right now on the side of this is 4.899 and wide is 4.457 inches wide. So with the width, I need to change that to 3.0, tab over and hit 3.0. Enter. Now, that's the actual size that I will be designing on right here. And I'm going to go ahead and hit this lock right here because this is what I want this bulb to stay this size. I don't want it to change any size at this time. I want it to be 3 inches. I no longer need the trace panel, so we're going to hit the little X over here to the right and close that out. Now, with this bulb, I'm going to add a photo. So now the next step is to bring the photo that you will be using into the design space. So I'm going to hit File. I'm going to hit Merge. You're going to hit Merge because you're bringing in another piece to go with the existing piece that is already on your mat. Anytime you bring in a new object, you must hit Merge. Otherwise, if you don't, it's going to delete everything you've already have on your mat. So we're going to do this. I'm going to look for, let's look for my dad. Let me see if I can find one of my daddy. Let's see. Okay, there's my dad and me. So we're going to go ahead and hit OK and bring this photo in. And as you can see, it's quite large, so we're going to scale it down a bit. Scale it, scale it, scale it, scale it all the way down a little bit so I can see. Now, this is the photo I will be using. For the bulb, I only want my dad. I only want his face right here. This is all that I want. Me, I don't need me. I don't need anything else in this photo. I just want to get a little oval shape of him right here. So we're going to go to the left of the screen and go to shapes or the drawing tool. And I want to make a circle. So I'm going to draw a circle. And there's our plus sign. Now I'm going to make a circle or oval shape over my dad's face. I'm going to try to get as much as this in here as possible. Got a little bit of his hand in there, but that's about it. I need the photo to be a little bit larger so I can get his whole face in the red area. Okay. So just kind of work with it until you get it to where you need it. So that's what I want. So I got the red circle on my dad only. Everything else in this photo, I will be deleting. So once you're done, you're going to select the whole entire box with the red dot or red circle and everything. You're going to select the whole entire frame. So you hold down your button, select everything in there. The red circle, as we can see, it has a line around it. You can see that line. So that lets me know that it has selected the red circle of the photo. Now that you're done with that, go to the top under Object. What I want to do now is delete everything else in this photo. So we're going to go to Object. We're going to go to Modify because we're getting ready to change this photo. And we're going to crop out everything else. Crop. Okay, so there it is. That's all I wanted was the picture of my dad. So now we're going to size it into the bulb. Just like that. Size it into the bulb. You can make this larger or bigger, however you like. Now, if you want this bulb where you can see things better, that's fine. You can change it to any color you like. And if you want to change this to a black bulb, go over here to the third icon on the right. These are your colors right here. This is when the fill panel is what it's called because you want to fill this bulb up with a different color if you need to. I can keep it gray like it is, or if you want to change it, you can select the fill panel. You can make it any color you like. You want to make it red, where you can see. You want to make it green, white, purple, green. Make it any color you like, anything where you'll be able to see what you're designing. Because when you print and cut this, we're not going to be cutting the entire red area, or when we print this, we're going to only be printing or cutting the outer portion of the shape. You'll see what I'm talking about in just a few moments. But I'm going to go ahead and keep mine. I want to keep mine, I'm going to make mine white. So let's bring my dad back into the bulb. I'm going to position him right here in the bulb on the left. Now, we want to add some wording or phrase to this bulb for my dad. He passed away in 2018, so we're going to add a nice little quote, phrase. You can add any wording you like, any type of wording you like. I have some quotes off of Etsy that I had purchased for like $1 for like 70 memorial quotes. So you can find any quote you like. So now I'm going to add in the quotes. Now, if you want to type in your own wording, that's fine too. But me, I'm going to go ahead and add the quotes that I already have purchased off of Etsy. So next thing we're going to do is going to hit File, and we're going to hit Merge because we're bringing in another object into our existing design. Merge. So now my box is going to open up, and I need to find me a design. I have some that's already in here. Always loved and missed. I'm going to do the always loved, never forgotten, forever missed. Let's open that up. So there it is. I want to bring this design here into my design space. So I'm going to hit OK. It's going to load up. Give it a few moments to load up. And there it is. Boom. Look how big it is. Look how big that is. So we're going to scale that down a little bit. It's so big. I'm going to go up here into the height and width and change the sizing of it so I can do some work on it. Let's make this a 12 by 12. It's probably going to go off my screen. Yes. So now I got to go find it. It's on here. So let's see, where did it go? It's somewhere over here on the bottom of my screen. It's probably so small now. There it is. Okay, let's bring it over. Now let's bring it back up to our mat. Bring it back up to our mat. There it is. Up to the mat area. Okay, there it is. Now, if you want to bring this size down to fit into this bulb, you can hit on the side arrows here, these little white dots, all of these dots on the side to scale it down. And as you can see, when you're designing in Designer Edition, anything you bring in will have red lines around it. And what I was telling you earlier about the lines, you can remove those. And that's going to be the fourth icon on the right. This is your line style panel. So when you want to change all this red around here, around the lettering of your design, I'm going to show you how to remove that. First, go ahead and select your design. Just hit it on your enter button or however, whatever computer you're using. Go ahead and select it until the box comes around your full design. Next, go to the fourth icon from the top over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that is your line style. Now the line style that I like, I want it to just be black or no red around it, anything. So we're going to hit line style right here for the line style color. So I'm going to hit the 3 lines that have the red, green, and the blue. And I don't want any color around my words. So if I choose that, this box here that you see that has a diamond shape around it, that box means no color. So watch what happens when I click on the box that has the diamond in it. All the red that you see around the lettering will be removed. And there you go. All the red that you saw is now gone. So that's how you remove lines or the coloring that will come into your design space if you're using the Silhouette Cameo 3. Designer Edition 4.4, I think, is the version that I'm on. For some reason, when you bring in wording, it always has that red line around it, but that is how you remove it. So now I've scaled this down. I'm trying to make sure it's going to fit into the bulb. As you can see, it's too big, so let's keep working with these points. the side, and we're going to bring it all the way down until it fits into the area that we need. And that looks pretty good. Now that you have everything that you need on your bulb, the design is complete. Now, if you want to add a name or anything like that, you can go in and add your own text and make sure you size it down to the size and make sure it fits within the bulb area. Next, we're going to select everything we've done and we're going to group it all together so that nothing will move when we're printing and cutting. So we're going to click and select everything. So you got a box over your photo, and you have a box as well over your text, and you have a big box over everything. Once you have all of that, go to Object at the top and Group. And there it is. Now you can see that this will move freely without anything moving around. So now we're all done with that. Now, your next step is you want to make multiple bulbs with this same photo. I'm going to make 4 of these. So I'm going to go ahead and print 4 of these out onto what we call transparency film. Transparency film, I'm going to show you another video shortly. Transparency film is what we will be printing this on, and we will also be cutting this. Transparency film, you can find that on Amazon.com. It is $34 for 50 sheets. Now, print and cut will be your next thing to do. So let's go ahead and X out the line style here with the X right here. We no longer need that. Now we're going to set up our page for print and cut. Right now your mat is 12 by 12. So we're going to be printing. I have a printer that is 8.5 by 11. So I'm going to click on this first sheet because that is the page setup panel. So I want to set up my panel. With print and cut, you always need to turn on your registration marks. Registration marks will be the third icon from the top. So click registration marks and you want to turn those on. And as you can see, your page has now changed on your mat. You have the registration marks on, and this is what it looks like when it's off. That's what it looks like. You're back to your original pad, your original mat. So when you want to put the registration marks back on, just click on. You have to use registration marks when you're doing print and cut if you want your Cameo or your Cricut or whatever you're using to cut your shape out with a clean cut. And make sure your design is within the area that you will be cutting. We're using a 8.5 by 11 transparency film. The transparency film, I will show you that it is clear. It's just like plastic, and it has a rough side and a smooth, shiny side, but you want to print on the rough side. So we have our registration marks turned on. You don't need to change anything else within this panel. So we're all done with that. Let's X out this box. Close. Now I want to make 3 more of these. So how can I duplicate this design and make 3 of these without doing the design all over again and try to size it up and make everything fit? Let's go to the top where it says Object right here. Click on Object. And what we want to do, we want to replicate. Well, let me go back. Let me select it first. Select your design first. Then go to Object And then you're going to go to replicate, and then you're going to go to duplicate. I want to duplicate this to the right. And there it is. Duplicate it to the right. Duplicate right. And now I also want to duplicate another one below that. Object, replicate, duplicate below. It makes me another one. Let's bring it down. And I want to make one more. So I want to select your design, hit object, replicate, and I need one to go over to the left. Left. And there you have it. You have all 4 of your designs. Now, remember I told you that my printer is 8.5 by 11. So your page setup, you will need to hit the page setup, which is the first icon on the right. Open that, click it. I'm using the Auto Cameo 3. My cutting mat that I will be using is a 12 by 12. And my media size is 8.5 by 11 because that is the size of the paper that I will be using. Now, if you want to make sure everything is within the 8.5 by 11, go to the very bottom where it shows Show Print Border. You can click on that and you see a gray box will appear. And you can also click on Show Cut Border if you like. So as you can see, the 8.5 by 11 sheet is measured out right there for you. With the whole red area, this is the area that we will be cutting. Now, do not take your design and go outside of the red area or you will be messed up. So we're all done. I'm going to select all of this because I don't want anything to move, and I'm just going to group it together. I like to group my things together so everything stays in one place and it does not move. This is very important when you're doing print and cut. You cannot move your design once you have printed it out on your printer. Once you print it out on your printer, make sure you do not touch, move, change anything on your screen, or the registration marks will not be able to read it. So your next choice is to select everything on your screen. Make sure there's a box that goes on everything on your screen of your design. Go to Object and hit Group. Now we've grouped everything together, so that means everything will stay as one, just like this. So now you want to make sure everything stays within the registration mark area and within the red lines that you see around your design. Now you're all done with the page setup. So let's X that out. Your next step is go ahead and mirror this image. Mirror means to flip your design backwards. You will often see, if you're using any kind of sublimation, you will mirror your image. So we're going to go to Object, Mirror, and we're going to flip it horizontally. And there it is. Now that you are done with designing, flipping horizontally, and you've grouped everything together, now you are ready to print. So what you would do now in the Silhouette Studio Designer Edition, you will go to File and Print. And just wait for your print screen to pop up. And there it is. You see your registration marks are here. Here and here. Now, remember, we have a bulb around this photo. So what the Cameo is going to do is cut this image into a circle. But first you must print it out on your printer. So your next step would be to hit print. And then your printer should pop up what you're using. I'm using a HP DeskJet 2600 series. And I'm going to hit normal, but I want it to print the best quality, and everything else is already set. And then you would hit print. I've already printed this, so I'll show you what it looks like in just a few moments when it comes out on the printer. Once you hit print, let's X this out, and your printer has printed the design. Do not change anything on the screen. Do not move it. Do not resize it. Do not make it bigger, because you're going to throw the whole machine off. So your next step would be for print and cut is to make sure it is selected like it is here. We're going to send it to the Cameo. So hit send. Now, your next step would be to look at your design. Everything you see in red, the Cameo will cut. But I do not want that. I only want the Cameo to cut the circle of the bulb. So go back to your page over here to the right, and we're going to hit cut edge. It's the third icon in the first column, cut edge. And it's going to make a red line around the bulb. That's what I want the machine to do. I want it to cut around the design. I don't want it to cut inside or the photo out. I need it to cut just around the bulb. Now, for this plastic that we're using, I could not find on the materials list the correct setting for, or the correct phrase or name for plastic. So what I did was I went through the list, because once you hit on your search for what kind of material you're going to be using, there's several things. You got cardstock, you got plain copy and paper, depending on the project that you're doing. You got heat transfer, glitter, heat transfer vinyl, several things. So what I used was the image transfer paper, which is listed under the eyes. Everything is in alphabetical order. So I said, okay, let's try image transfer paper. So click on image transfer paper, and now you're ready. So your next step is to make sure your Cameo is turned on. And make sure you plug it up into your computer. And it should say that it is available and ready in just a few moments. And once you have everything ready, it should say ready. So now your Cameo, which is the Cameo 3 here, is ready. The Cameo 3 is ready. It is ready to cut. So go ahead and look at your design one more time and see if everything is set how you like it. And once you're done with that, you want to cut the edge, and you have set your cutting settings to image transfer paper. What your Cameo will do next, after you hit send, it will start reading the registration marks. These marks here, 1, 2, and 3. It will read these registration marks, and it will cut out. Now you would load whatever you printed off, this design, you're going to load it onto your mat. Just like it looks on the screen, load it onto your Silhouette Cameo mat and load it into your Cameo. I'm going to show you all these features in a separate video. We'll pick up where we left off. But you will load your printed design, what you printed off of your inkjet printer is what I have. You will load that paper, transparency film, onto your cutting mat, just like you see it on the screen. Line it up just like you see it on the screen. Make sure the black dot is over to the top left of the mat and everything else stays the same. Once you load it into your Cameo, you're going to hit send and it will do the settings for you. No need for you to go in there and do any settings. It's going to set for you. It'll click 3 or 4 times before it sets itself and it will do the cutting itself. So that's basically it. We're going to go back to the design, and that's how you do print and cut. I'll do a separate video for those who may be confused on print and cut. If you want to see it, some of you may already know how to do print and cut. It's very easy. It's very important, though, that you do not move your design once you have printed it out. That's where a lot of people mess up on print and cut. Do not move your design once you print it. Leave it on the screen as it is, and then you send it to your Cameo or your Cricut or Cricut, however they say it, and then you cut. So that's it. That's how you do the bulb, and I'll show you the results in just a few moments. Thanks for watching.